You ever realize that the silent but deadly farts aren't actually silent? Like, at some point, I'm pretty sure we've all been in a quiet room by ourselves, squeeze out a fart, and the noise that comes out goes like, psst. What causes this phenomenon? What if every time you have these kinds of farts, it's actually your anus trying to grab your attention because it has a secret to tell? Psst, over here. Psst. But the reason why nobody's ever realized this is because ears don't normally exist around anuses in everyday situations, especially while fart is coming out of it. Psst.
What is wrong with you?
So naturally, nobody is willing to listen to what it has to say. But if just the right circumstances lined up together, perhaps humanity would have come across a groundbreaking discovery. Psst. Hey you.
Huh?
I have something important to tell you.
What the?
Stop eating spicy food, you son of a bitch.
Oh gosh, what the?
If this was really the case, then that explains so many other mysteries. Like, you ever have those farts where you're trying extremely hard to push it out? So hard that you have to bite your bottom lip, and once it does come out, it feels prickly and sharp? Maybe the reason why this happens is because your anus bites down on its own bottom lip like how you are.
I'm helping.
But it's not helping, since all that clenching is making it harder for the fart to come out. And that's why it feels prickly, because the tooth... The tooth... How interesting. Cause like, there's so many different types of farts with their own sensations. Some like this. And this. And this. And this. And even this. But the rarest of them all, at least for me, is the prickly and sharp kinds. The most unpleasant and alarming of them all. It feels like a miniature porcupine performed a somersault across that inconveniently specific area. Actually, have you ever wondered how a regular fart makes its noise in the first place? Turns out it's literally the buzzing and oscillating of the anus itself as air gets squeezed through it. But for the longest time, I thought the sound was coming from the flapping of your butt cheeks. If this was actually true, I would imagine that farting would sound less like and more like. And the further I think about it, I wonder how I could have made such a moronic assumption. That's like hearing the buzzing of a bumblebee and thinking a bird flew by. Like, those two phenomenon are so different from each other, how could I even think such a thing? You know, it's so fascinating how different parts of nature resemble each other, like veins in your body to veins in a leaf, or whirlpools in lakes to galaxies in space. Likewise, birds are like flapping butts, and bumblebees are like buzzing anuses. And it's interesting because if a bird shows up, it's just like, well, hello there. But if a bumblebee shows up, it's like... Likewise, if a butt shows up, it's just like, hey, look, a butt. But if an anus shows up... It is sort of disappointing that our butt cheeks don't flap whenever we fart. Cause if it was true, I feel like the chances of humans evolving into creatures of flight would have been way more probable. The tricky thing about this is that our butt cheeks would naturally only flap when we farted. So in the early stages of development, perhaps humans couldn't necessarily fly, but just have occasional bursts of levitation. So what if even later, humans evolve in such a way that if they open their mouths while running, it allows more air to pass through them combined with the pre-existing fart mechanic, providing a consistent flow of fart to keep the cheeks flapping. Wow, it's like a motor. Except better because as long as the humans keep their mouth open, it's all automatic. We would have been better than the birds. And it even gets better because most of the fart content that's coming out is simply the air entering from their mouth. So it's like 90% clean air and only 10% gassy fart. So consequently, it would smell just fine to fly. But who am I kidding? This would only be probable if indeed our butt cheeks actually flapped when we farted. But no, says nature. All it is our measly anus buzzing about. Huh? But wait a minute. According to mathematical myth, bumblebees shouldn't be able to fly given their wing and body proportions, yet in nature, we see them fly. I bet they're also trying to tell us that our anus can't make us fly.
Hey, you got this, man. If we could do it, you can too.
Just do it!
Oh. Aw, gee, don't give up. More far power! More far power! You can do it! You can do it! Oh! Too much far power.
So yeah, that's about it, students. I mean, your parents should have taught you guys this at home, but I guess the curriculum's shifting the burden to us now. Anyways, that concludes today's lesson on the birds and the bees. Any questions?
Yeah, how does this have anything to do with where babies come from?
Mr. Andy?
Yes, Principal?
You're fired.